Hello everyone, this is Gigi and welcome to Numbies. So today I have a story that I've been trying to go and write. I've been really interested in specifically pursuing a lot of different things involving like gender identity and a supposed society that believes non-binary to be the norm compared to binary. So, for instance, it was where I drafted up the first chapter and I wanted to go and share it with you guys, at least the outline that I had for it, which was in chapter 1, we are introduced to Amethyst, a 17-year-old trans woman that has been raised in an isolated community where non binary is standard and binary is not. She learns of gender expression from classes in the community and speaks with the elder of the society to answer questions asked to one who was not born in the community, but instead the outside world. Like they were not born to the community. Amethyst learns of her gender identity as a trans woman through actually understanding what being gendered even is, a requirement of the outside world. The elder reassures her existence as a trans woman by explaining the existence of a trans man who had left their society to explore their gender identity due to the stifling quality behind a society always calling each other they them pronouns. Amethyst is to start on her quest to understand comfort in being called the right pronouns by adventuring outside of the community's walls to meet Darren, the trans man. And I named this society Our Eyes Are Not Hearts, and instead of the I being EYES, I put it as I apostrophe S. Because it's all about understanding one's pronouns and understanding who they are as a person. And I named chapter 1 Time to Fly. And I wrote down some of the lessons at school are dragging on my mind. Gender expression is something I can understand and grasp, but it's hard to understand the concept of it when we don't know what's beyond our community. What is he? What is she? How am I supposed to know who is he and who is she? They say it's generally how they act, dress, or sound, but I don't know what I'm looking for. I couldn't possibly perceive being in a bubble. I say that even though that I've never even gotten a glimpse yet. I sometimes go over the gate to see the tall building, and go over to the gate to see the super tall buildings down the hill. Then I get scolded to come back and learn about the society below, when none of the society outside our own interests me. I love the tall buildings and the lights at night. Why does a short person get called a woman and a tall person get called a man? Why not call them by their name? Does it really make it easier to group people by these gendered pronouns? I wonder if they're all doctors down there based on how much they know about people's bodies. Unless I'm speaking in third person, I'm just I. My parents, Moss and Time, are not in this binary of the world outside of this little community upholds. I read up on it, and both of the names chosen for my parents are considered non-binary, as in what they consider a woman or a man out there is not to be seen, and not able to be seen at a glance just by looking at their name. Moss is my birth parent because I came from them. And Time got Moss pregnant, is what I understand. For all intents and purposes, Moss is my mother, quote unquote, and Time is my father, quote unquote. Because Time fathered my mother, and that's how I came to be. If that's all they see people in society to be, which is how they create babies, that's really weird. The reason why I'm learning all of this is The reason why I'm learning all of what I'm learning is the part of our lives in the community known as the quest. We finally get to leave our walls for the very first time and see the world below to see for ourselves what it has to offer. Well, has to offer us. I'm sorry, I'm like moving between web fishing and going to that. I really, really want the golden bass, okay? And I need something in the background. Oh, there we go. Clearly the community is small, and unfortunately there aren't many others of our communities around the world. I've also been warned as much as possible about what dangers pose a threat on the outside, such as people putting you in a box or even hurting you. You could hurt us. We know in our society and learn that we do not hurt one another, and it is behavior saved for children who do not know better. I need to change that part, because it's like, children do hurt each other. It is true, and that's basically what I'm getting at with that. Not sure what I would change it to, but whatever. I'll fix it later. I see us in this society as the bonsai, and the rest as the old growth. Old growths are allowed to be wild and free, while us as bonsais live as rigid. Are we the ones to live rigidly? Or are they the ones who are rigid? Who's actually the bonsai? I don't know. And hopefully the quest explains why I feel this way. My name is Amethyst, and I'm 17 years old. I'm middling height to others in my society at my age, and I'm 5'7". I really like music, singing along to the music, writing, doing impressions, acting, or talking with others. I'm told I am extroverted, and I usually make friends with anyone around me. I've had my voice deepen at 12 years old, but I like speaking in a higher voice more. I don't know why. I just do. I just can't talk as high as other people in society, and sometimes I get a little bit jealous and compare myself to others. So people reassure me that it's just the way of how I was made, sure. But how I carry myself is for me and no one else. The outside world would still call me a boy, which doesn't make sense as I mostly dabble in what they would consider feminine, or being like a girl. What's wrong with someone like me being seen as a girl exactly? If I was in their society, I would want them to see me as a girl, if I had to choose anything. Am I weird for that? Is society right about how I should identify? No. Let me see. Every person around me that I ask... Every person around me that I ask for if it's wrong to feel this way shrugs and doesn't understand because they're free and referred to by their name only. Because they are free and referred to by their name only. I was so confused I went to go seek the elder, who originally lived on the outside before spending the rest of their days here, to console and, well, counsel, and educate us on the world. I knocked on the elder's door to their home. Great Elder, are you there? I have some questions I wanted to ask about the outside world, I called. And I listened for any footsteps, and I heard sounds. Wait, I'm not fishing in the water. From within, and I went to the front door, which wasn't locked this time, since it was the last time that I came to visit. Hello? My voice carried and bounced off the walls in a resounding echo. I'm sometimes quite loud, and I still didn't hear anything back. I walked down the hallway in the foyer, past a long side of, past the side of a long staircase, along a floral wallpaper and complimentary warm lights, following sounds further into the house. I peeked through the door on the left and found the elder on a stepladder looking at their bookshelf, fingering through old tomes with their aged and delicate hands. I stood patiently for a while to hope that they would see me standing at the doorway of their library. And eventually, they turned around with a book off the shelf. On their descent, they caught my gaze and shrieked. Like, ah! Do you know any better than to sneak up on an old lady like that? They went over to me and shook their hand at me to admonish my behavior. Most rude! You ring the doorbell like I tell everyone else. Some people. They're from a different era, and they think that everyone on the outside acts like how the Grand Elder does when they're angry. As they act like how they do in the outside world. I'm sorry, Grand Elder. I saw the door was open, and no one in our society... no one else in our society closes the door like you do, so I backpedaled my behavior, and the Grand Elder interrupted me by scolding me. What works for others doesn't work for me. Got it? They dipped their tone once they realized my fearful expression. I'm sorry about that. Just please wait until I can answer the phone. Right. Answer the door next time. What did you want to ask me? I mean, that's why you're here, aren't you? The elder spoke to me in an uplifting way to get my spirits flowing again. Then, let me see here. I fumbled my words, but chirped. Grand Elder, I wanted to know if the outside world would see me as a girl for the way that I act, because I don't think that I'm a boy, like I keep thinking that they'd say. The elder thought about my question, then approached me to place their hand on my shoulder, where I met their gaze into my eyes with their own. They looked like hazel pebbles. Hun, you try very hard to carry yourself in a sort of way that oozes femininity in outside culture. I interrupted with an eager bark. I know that, but... They interrupted me back, chattering, Now, let me finish what I need to say to you. After all, you're trying to get an answer to this dilemma. Us in our society don't see you as man or woman, but just as a person. I lived in society for 60 years of my life, then came to reside in this community. Take it from this old lady that you... Hold on. And that you cannot let yourself be trapped in the perception other people have of you. No. What you should do instead is celebrate each success, and that people call you the right pronoun to suit their image of you. The people on the outside are fickle. They shook their hand to brush away a person. They don't respect who you are unless you satisfy quota for what they want. Look at yourself and how you behave, and feel joy when you are acting the way of how you want to act. If someone calls you the wrong pronoun out there, it ideally shouldn't be a big deal, because you see yourself from within. They beamed with a large smile and patted me on the shoulder. He, she, they, it doesn't matter. It's how they perceive you, because you only refer to yourself as I, or even your name. I nodded and took in their message, returning, so, as long as I see myself as a girl, I am a girl, regardless of how they perceive me? The elder nodded and added, "And those who see you as a boy are trapped in their own perception, in a way to harm you. You are a young lady outside our humble home, and ideally, you would use she, her to refer to yourself out in their society. You are your own person and make your own choices for yourself. Never forget that." I teared up and reached up for a hug from the elder, which they readily accepted. "Why do you think people call me a boy, though? Why do you think people will call me a boy, though?" The elder paused, and they had a more somber expression. Deliberating, "I'm not saying that people would, ideally. It's all about, since it's all about presentation out in their society, where they fixate on roles denoting their gender expression. I know you're learning a lot about gender expression right now, as it is still in your curriculum. People wouldn't do it as much with you because you gravitate more towards the feminine." I interrupted with a chirp, "But that will be part of the masculine and how I carry my... I'm really trying." "But what would be the part of the masculine and how I actually carry myself? If it really is that easy, how come I don't see what people mean when they cannot wholeheartedly say I look only like a girl? What if they see me as a boy?" The elder frowned and nodded, meekly saying, "Because they focus on what testosterone, a hormone used by the body to develop masculine features, something you cannot help, does to the body, and shape their perception around that. It can be something as simple as a defined brow, a wider rib cage, wider shoulders, a less defined set of hips, and even a higher height. There can be a difference in posture, a deep voice, and a defined hairline as well. Do not scrutinize over features like this because it only causes more worry to your self-esteem. Everyone has a high percentage, but not 100%, that they will be called the right pronouns to supplement their gender identity. Even someone with the effects of testosterone that wishes to be masculine and use he, him pronouns, and to refer to them, depending on how genetics might go, might just make it difficult for them to be perceived even in the way they were destined to be perceived." I pondered for a moment in the midst of Elder's speech and chimed after, "Is there a way to halt this progression so I'm not perceived incorrectly just because of the testosterone from within my body?" "Oh, there are!" I beamed with joy and my face lightened up like the sun, but they continued. "But, that being said, you would have to have caught it a lot sooner. And in our community, we aren't nearly big enough to provide people their medication in the form of puberty blockers soon enough. Because we can't do accurate enough diagnoses on all of the children within our society. You are what outside society would consider transgender." I was baffled. Was I really just unlucky enough and too late? Did I miss the train on my hormones? What about some of the people that are more feminine than me? What of them? I pleaded, "What's transgender?" The elders sighed, shook their head, and reassuringly chimed, "Being transgender is to be born with a mind that perceives your own gender identity as opposite to your body's actual composition. You are what society would consider a transgender woman, because of the way of how you view yourself in opposition to the hormones that help shape your body. We don't have many transgender people in our society, but I think you should talk to Darren, who is a transgender man. and he's quite old compared to you. But realize he was trans 10 years ago. But realized he was trans 10 years ago. And always leaned more towards masculine activities, while being born with estrogen in his development. He lives in a house not too far outside of the community and visits often. The elder sounded so confident in using the pronouns for Darren, I was almost mesmerized. They could see my shock, and reassured, I'm not going against the doctrine of this community, as Darren no longer is within our community, because our community would not call him a man, as the rest of us do not understand how persistent use of they, them can harm the perception of a trans person in our society if they themselves are non-binary. Are not non-binary, but rather just binary. You do not stamp out pronouns entirely without the entirety of society being okay with it, after all. I am the elder of the society, so I'm more than qualified to answer for our community and keep in touch with Darren. You're not the first trans person I suggest to go meet Darren, believe it or not. I smiled and felt comfort knowing I'm not alone and feeling the way of how I do about myself. I wonder what a transgender man is like. The elder went over to a cabinet, pulled out a leather-bound map with a plastic film around the paper map inside, and handed it to me. They pointed to the dot on the map and explained, this is where Darren's house is. I can walk with you to the front gate, tell your parents where you're going, and set you up with everything you need. If you want to go take a look to learn about this side about yourself, I can call Darren and let him know that you're on your way. They smiled, continuing, what do you say, hun? I was so elated, I don't think I could say no. My whole worldview feels like it changed so fast. I nodded and chirped, let's do it. So, I gotta work on how I read things. I gotta work on how I'm doing this because I have my 2 monitors all set up where I'm playing Webfishing on my main monitor and then I'm reading from the other monitor, and I'm even like moving the cursor off of the screen. You're probably seeing me like go and scroll over so that I can go and do that. Anyway, I wasn't able to fully look at what I caught. Let me look. Again? Where is it? That can wait. It's almost every single web fishing video. I gotta go and look. Where's the dogfish? Ah! Ah! No! Where is it? Damn it. Okay. Alright, let's see here. Where do you see it, chat? There it is. Is it down there? It sure is. Oh, I should have switched my bait. I'm fishing it up with worms. I could have gotten more for that. Damn it. Oh well. Let's look at what I caught. Oh, beyond. That's a tip, by the way. You can actually just get the fish sent to you from your buddy from far away. You do not have to stay in one place. So, wolffish, crappie, pupfish, we got that. Oh, a bone! I didn't even realize that I caught a bone. What the heck? Bones are incredibly rare. Still no golden, bleh. Still no golden bass, though. And definitely no golden bass. Looks like I got a lot ahead of me of things that I gotta go and get. Boy, oh boy. $80. It's costing so much to just go and get the normal rod, I swear. Golden bass is all I'm missing now. And you know, I'm saying that wearing the freaking golden shades. I clearly caught more than 6. Alright, well, anyway. That was just kind of a session, I suppose. So, if you like this video, hit a like on this video, and if you dislike this video, dislike this video. Leave me a comment if you like this video. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this one. God, I'm tired. I am so sorry. I was in a writing spree. I had to go and share it. I've been constantly making videos all day. I made the 2-hour video. Looking through my TF2 backpack. Anyway. I hope that you all have a lovely night. Or day. Or whatever. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright? Bye!